What's the green button for? Okay. Thank you. We're good to go? Yeah. Hi everyone, I'm Rich Morton. I am the CEO at Invevo. If you haven't heard about Invevo, we are a accounts receivables technology platform, and we deliver our technology into very large organisations, companies with quite complex business and operational challenges. So I'm just going to spend 25 minutes with you all today, post-lunch, so please don't fall asleep. Just to chat you through the business case, the use case, and why we've implemented the Invevo platform into the Adecco group, and the reasons why the Adecco group chose the Invevo platform to solve their business challenges, and how we help them to kind of identify and solve their pain points, essentially. So I'll move on to, hopefully this will work. Right, I've got a technical problem. Right, thank you. This one? Thank you. Thanks very much. Okay, at a glance. So Adecco Global, they are the world's largest recruitment company. They obviously operate a shared service, GPO. They were looking to implement a global software to essentially create a standardized target operating model across the 70 countries where they were operating. And obviously the objective was to optimize cash collection and improve working capital. So just the real fundamentals here, not getting into anything like, too complex. They're the underlying fundamental requirements, the objectives that have been set out for this project. We want to optimize cash collection, and we want to drive working capital, because the cost of capital now is increasing, and we want to make our receivables asset as valuable as we possibly can. So that was the business requirement. And then we set out some very clear objectives to try to achieve that. So implement a target operating model. Now, that seems relatively straightforward and simple, but when you've got 70 different ERP systems and you've got disparate financial models in each one of the trading entities that they have, it's something that then requires some form of consolidation to create that standardization. But why do we want that standardization? We want the standardization because we want to be able to measure performance, and we want to be able to benchmark. And if we don't have a target operating model and we don't have a standard operating process, it's very difficult to then assess and understand the performance of each of the in-country financial performance numbers and their KPIs. So implementing a target operating model was really clear to us, and also having that flexibility where you have a target operating model, great, but each country has its own nuances, each country has its own regulatory challenges, and also slightly different ideas as well around their customer profile and the way that they want to manage their engagement with their customers, how they're going to best get the best output from their users and their teams, and what does that end-to-end customer engagement lifecycle look like. So what they want is standardization with flex and adaptability, so you can kind of flex and nuance each one of those in-country processes while still maintaining that kind of 80% target operating model that they're looking for. And then clearly from when we talk about client engagement, we talk about cross-functional teams. So cross-functional teams essentially means that anywhere in that life cycle, any one of those touch points, there's a team, there's users, and they are responsible for their part of that process, whether that's in the collections, whether that's in risk management decisioning, whether that's in the disputes process, whether that's onboarding a new customer. that whole end-to-end process, there's different teams and there's different operational units that are involved in that process. So we want to make that cross-functional, right? We don't want everybody working as silos. I think we touched on it quite a lot in the panel that we had yesterday, where we're talking about removing the silos and kind of having that visibility of your processes as they're flowing across your operations. And process, everything's a process. Well, whether you're in receivables, sales, disputes, everything is a process. So how can we optimize that process? Where can we create automations? Where can we create standardization so we can measure the performance of each one of these teams? And how can we get everyone collaborating so that we've got one source of truth? Which, when you've got 70 operating systems, one source of truth feels like quite a long way away, right? And how can you actually create these operational efficiencies and improvements if you don't have that one source of truth? So we want a hub, okay? We get a hub. Everyone in that hub, everyone within that client engagement lifecycle can operate within that hub, and we get a view of that information. So we can start driving those operational improvements, right? So one uniform platform. Digital transformation, obviously, I think that's the definition of digital transformation. It's about providing the technology to improve your processes and improve the way that your users can operate, give them good tools, give them something that they love to use. You're working on this thing every day. You want to be able to love the technology that you use. It helps you do your job. So why shouldn't you like it? And last but not least, and it's a big part of this, was improve the customer engagement. We talked a lot about engagement with customers that have their own billing platforms and the challenges that presents. But there's a big volume of customers. When you've got 500,000 customers that you're operating with, that Pareto's law, that 80-20, where a lot of those customers are smaller sized customers, but they account for a large amount of your revenue. How can we improve our engagement with those customers? How do we become customer centric? Because collections and risk management, you have more engagement with the customer than anyone does in sales. And you're 7 times more likely to sell to an existing customer than to a new customer. So when you look at and talk about credit management and client engagement, really what you're talking about is maintaining your brand identity and maintaining the way that you want to be perceived as a supplier to that customer. Who are we when we go through that credit management process? How does the customer identify to us? And how do we present ourselves to the outside world? So that customer engagement was something that we always constantly think about, as well as how can we kind of maintain and increase that customer satisfaction levels throughout the customer engagement life cycle. And we'll talk about how we've approached that for this particular, how we approach that with our technology. Life before Invevo. So, disparate systems, no standardization, all the things that we talked about. A lot of hard coding. A lot of you guys might be using systems that you might be using for quite a long time. There'll be a lot of hard-coded processes in there, a lot of hard-coded data, hard to change, probably takes a long time to change a process. Probably takes a long time to even change a field on a screen, right? Oh, we need this new field. Probably takes you 6 weeks, 2 months, even to get the change request into the IT department. So that whole piece around creating more flexibility, more agility to change, more agility to change the way that we look at information, the way we look at data, because we're constantly learning, it's an evolution. Once you put in a piece of software, that's just the start of the journey. Once that journey starts, we want to be learning from that and we want to be adapting. We don't want to go, oh great, we've got it perfect first time. Anyone that says that is lying. This is about an evolution, it's about a transformation, and you have to keep transforming. So it's that adaptability, no hard coding. We don't want to get stuck into something that we can't learn from and adapt and evolve from. And then users in every territory working in different ways. We talked about silos, I won't go on about it, but I think that it's something, even if you're a smaller business, you know, I look at Invevo, and I think about the different teams that we've got in Invevo, and I look at those teams and think, there's still potential silos there, because, you know, we all work remotely now, don't we? Or we're in different departments or different offices or different countries, sometimes on different planets. You know, creating silos can happen even in the smallest companies if there's not communication. So how do we make sure that we're all communicating, we're removing silos, and that we're all working together collaboratively to achieve our goals and our objectives? So, they were the challenges. I didn't do this deck, by the way, I'm just stepping in, so I'm learning as I go. This is the solution. So, real-time insights, automations, prioritizations, just looking at the sort of the fundamentals again, like you'll hear a lot about like exciting new technologies, you'll hear a lot over the last couple of days around AI, you'll hear a lot about like how AI is going to change your world. And it is going to change the world, by the way, like I'm an advocate for this, but equally, that has to come after the fundamentals are established. And the fundamentals is you have to have a solid base point to start from, solid set of data, solid set of processes, solid set of ideas and KPIs, a solid set of why are we doing this. And then AI is essentially a tool that is going to be an enabler to automate a lot of that. But get the foundations right, and I think what we're doing is we're skipping away too quickly from getting the fundamentals right. Make sure you've got the fundamentals right, make sure that the data is correct, you've got a hub, you've identified your KPIs, you've identified your engagement life cycle, you've identified where you want to make improvements, and you start measuring that. AI will come, right? But get the fundamentals right. AI is not the solution to all of your problems, by the way. What do we get from that? What do we gain now? What did Adecco gaining from this? So, actionable insights to make smart decisions and streamline business operations. Okay? I dig that. So, I think that it's, streamlining, optimization, and very much about that continual improvement cycle. So when we are running these processes, that we're evaluating our productivity, the breakpoints in the processes, where can we improve user performance? It's a big one. Do we have motivated, happy users? Are we feeding those users with the value-added tasks that we need them to do? Because automation essentially is, what is the stuff, the repetitive stuff or the predictable stuff that we can take away from our users and give the value add stuff to our users where they can add that value, that human element to it. Like, I come from a credit control background. I went into credit control when I was like 17. And the thing that I loved most about credit control was the communication. I loved the contact with people. I loved speaking to customers and talking to them about their account and getting payments in, right? That's the thing that I really loved. And the human communication shouldn't be underestimated ever, right? Because we are here, we communicate, we get value out of that interaction. Automation, AI, that is the bit, that's the repetitive, as I say, the predictable bit. And we can then start giving our users the value-added actions where we need that human interaction. So that you are representing the brand, you are working with the customer to help your business get paid. Such a good name, Get Paid. Really good. Annoys me because I use it all the time and I know it's a competitor. Just, can't you call yourself something else? So SaaS, you know, all these systems are like in the cloud, right? The cloud, on-premise, hard metal, bare metal, the cloud, hosted cloud, managed clouds. What is actual SaaS technology? SaaS technology really is, the people that do this really, really well is not this industry. This industry does not do SaaS technology very, very well. It's like non-SaaS technology in the cloud. That's what this sector kind of does. SaaS technology is like the CRM sector do this really well. I can get this technology, I can operate, I can configure it, I can set all of my processes, and it's lightweight. Yeah, I get quick value out of it. That's SaaS technology. SaaS technology needs to be easy to consume. It should have little to no change requests, should be config driven, shouldn't be a high cost to serve SaaS technology. That's what the CRM market has done really, really well. This is what I think this market needs to do. We need to create technology that's really easy to consume, puts the technology into the hands of the operational users, removes this whole change cycle, and you have those tools. Because credit management is constantly adapting. You're evolving because the economic position of your business is changing. You've got new competitors, macroeconomic conditions change, there's a war, you know, supply chain changes, so you have to adapt. So credit management needs to be entirely adaptable. And therefore, that needs to go into the tools, not the IT team, oh, that's the change request, that can take you 3 months to change that. That needs to happen now. So, SaaS modeling, eliminate the cost of change, because change should be part of your operations. Improve customer experience, of course, we've talked a lot about that. Portals, billing portals, how you connect and communicate is so important because it demonstrates that you aren't just offloading onto the customer and causing cost and overhead for your customer. How can you help your customer be more efficient? Think about that. How can we give our customers the tools to communicate with us? How can we connect and use technology to be able to do that? So that kind of enablement, that mobilization of your customers, because again, you've got 500,000 customers, right? So do the math, I don't know, like maybe 1% of them have got their own AP platforms. So how are we helping the rest? So that kind of being able to give tools to customers is something that we do. You know, we give tools to your customers. We give them a platform that they can also use, that they can also get value from, so that they can give you more interaction and you know, more connectivity. So I see this as something that, like, as all the providers in the market, I think we'll just all end up sort of, you know, it's a network, it's an ecosystem. All technology should work together. You know, no man is an island unless you're SAP. So yeah, I think that connectivity is super, super important. And then, of course, you know, going back to the cash performance and the working capital. Once we've done all of that, are we measuring that and we're making sure that these changes and this technology that costs money, right, I'm getting an ROI on this, and, you know, we're driving those processes. I've got that visibility, I've got the controls, and it's driving that cash performance into my organisation, because that's what I'm being paid to do. Half an hour? Oh, fine. Yeah, client statement. Yeah. I like to break things down into really simple formulas, because we can talk a lot about, there's a lot of, like, you know, blinding people with science. It's really super simple, actually. Data. Your data, you can, you know, almost like weaponize your data, right? Get your data into a position where you can actually get some value out of it. That takes me back to this AI thing where get your data right first. If you can, you know, AI just only knows what you tell it, right? So if you don't give it the right information, you don't give it the right data, it's actually not going to give you the output that you need. So get your data right, consolidate it, get it into the right shape. Automations, just what can we automate? How do you do that? Look at the processes, look at that engagement cycle, what automations, what automated decisions can we make? How can we make this in play? So, you know, it's not just an end of day thing. Automation should be complete integration into your operations as a kind of real-time thing. So in play, constantly evaluating, making decisions for you, almost like a user would do. Automations, providing your users with the right data, the right tools, the right information, and the right call to actions. What am I going to do today? How many times have you kind of, you know, asked, well, just show me what the users do. What's the day in the life of a user? So how can we make that user, give them the tools and the prioritizations to actually do the work that we need them to do? Insights to learn the KPIs, how are we driving these processes? Is it actually, are my KPIs trending in the right way? And is that feeding back into my process, my operating model? So I really see this as a simple formula. Every time I look at a process, I think about it like this. And then, you know, we break it down and we look at where we can actually make those improvements. And are those improvements, you know, significant enough to invest in technology? You know. We hit some pretty good numbers for that customer. Reduced bad debt by 65%. Working cap up by 28%. AI recommendations, communications, training, conversational, it's coming, it's here. You know, there's so much chat about AI. As I say, I'm a big believer in it, but everything has to be contextualized. Foundationally, are you there? Foundationally, if you're there, great. Then AI is going to start really giving you those optimizations. We use it a lot at Invevo. We even use it a lot at Invevo for Invevo as a business. It does some stuff really, really well. And that predictive element, that kind of big data processing element, I think is really going to start to drive. You know, you've got a good process. Look, to be fair, you've got good processes and you've got good workflows and you've got like machine learning. AI is like an incremental improvement to that stuff. Interesting, the conversational thing. It's going to improve, I think, quite quickly. But yeah, AI training is really interesting as well. I've seen that quite a lot as well now. But to get access to that information, again, do you want to go and have AI all over the place, or can you just consolidate that into a tool, and then you have that use case, that business case, to use that AI to, again, give you value? I'm not doing a poll. That's it. I think I'm on time as well. I'm open to any questions for the next minute or two. So yeah, fire away. Be kind. Over to anybody who wants to ask me a question. 100%. Really super straightforward. You can get a really bad example, SAP. Look at a SaaS model. Okay, any change to a configuration, to a workflow process, has to go through IT in general, in SAP. Goes through a change control process. It then goes through, your test systems, etc., and then you might get that change, but you have to book that in. SaaS model is this: have a replica of your production system, you config the change, you test the output, you sync it over, you make the changes in, and it's running. And do that in a few hours. So having versions of your prod system, testing these configuration changes, making sure you're happy with them, and then changing that config into your production system can be done super quick, right? That's the difference, number one, through change control that can take months to minutes in a SaaS system. Because SaaS systems should be super light and you should be able to make those changes whenever you want to. Did you want 2 examples? Example number 2. Okay. You want some new data. The new data fields have got created. Generally, new data fields mean new schemas. New schemas mean change. 6 months. Lucky if you can get that change in, right? Minutes. Dynamic data models allow you to set the data fields in the source, in the recipient system, to match the data from your source system dynamically. So someone's trying to talk to me out of the speaker. So that change, which would be horrendous in like a traditional system, you can change data models literally in real time in SaaS systems. That means that you've got the flex, and then you can then use that data anywhere you want. Okay, I want to use that new data field in my workspaces for my users, in my workflow automations, in my reporting. All of that can be done in minutes. So two things that really change requests. I've seen, honestly, I've seen people getting charged 100 grand for this stuff. This stuff you can do with configuration in SaaS products for free. 2 examples. Any other questions? Handsome man in the blue shirt.
I can shout actually.
No, he can go.
So, provocative question, maybe, if you're okay with that. What's your USP, or I would say, why should I go with your solution versus your competitors? All Tradiers, Get Paid, Black Lines, Allocate. There are plentiful solutions out there which gives the similar solution. I like you, probably I'll go with you, but what's the other thing? Why should we go for your solution?
That is a brilliant question. And life is full of choices, right? And so it should be. I believe that you should be trying these systems, and it shouldn't be. There should not be a barrier to entry for you to go and try one of those products that you've mentioned. How do you know what fits best for you? When you met your wife or your girlfriend or whatever, right? Yeah. No, but what I mean is this: how do you know? You don't. But you get to know each other, and the rest is history. But what I'm saying is this, right? What's our USP? We give you the product. We set it up for you based on our interaction, your business requirements, and you try it out. You're not signing a contract with me. I'm not trying to get you into a 5-year contract that you can't get out of. It ends up like being a messy divorce. That to me is, that's the USP. That's something we believe in. Again, a SaaS model, right? A SaaS model is, you can get to use this, and it doesn't become a big, change request for you. It doesn't become a big commitment from you to be able to say, actually, I believe I can make process improvements within my organisation. I can deliver value through technology. Okay, here's some technology. Let's see if we can do that together. Oh, thank you.